Mm-hmm. Hello, Kira.
Hello.
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 I think I found like an interesting problem on UX Stack Exchange. And let's geek around. I found something interesting. It's a problem of the week. We'll have fun on it. So there it is. It's from mpetro19. I'm sure it's his or her real name. So do you want to read it for us?
Yes, absolutely.
Hmm,
Okay, see what we got here.
hmm,
We have a screen in our application which displays all files uploaded. Each file is able to be assigned tags, as many as needed, which can help filter and search. Tagging is assigned via the overflow menu or within the document view that we can see below. Okay. Currently, the file list table has a column for tags, which I'm not entirely sure what to do with. So tag overflow is the number one point, and number two, column size versus truncation. Do we have multiple breakpoints and tags will likely not render on smaller screens as we opted card based approach versus the table. My current thought for point one was to have the tags side by side, as many as can fit, and then include a plus number. Okay, I know what they
hmm.
mean by that. Hovering on the count would render the list of assigned tags. My thought for point one was to only truncate the first tag. If the next tag in the array doesn't fit, then it goes in the overflow. Feedback from our dev team is that there could be a lot of math involved, and this could get very complicated to build. Math, yuck. They, I'm editorializing here. Okay, they were assuming we could show a fixed number of tags in the column and truncate all tags needed, then overflow the rest. Am I on the right track? Any suggestions?
Okay, let me share the whimsical file so we can take a look at the example and work on this. Okay, so you have access to this. Good. So that's the
Yep, I'm on it.
example that they gave.
Mhm.
Simple document. It's a data table. I know you love data tables.
Come on.
But who doesn't love data tables? Not fans of
Everyone does.
PNP. That's for sure. Yeah, exactly. Mm. Well, if it's designed by us, you'll love it. And you have a couple of tags here, and if there's too much right now, you have a plus one. So what's the problem here? What's the real problem, you think?
Well, I guess my first start when
Hmm.
even defining the problem is looking at or analyzing a bit more about like what are the tags actually doing for us
Hmm.
in this flow. So my first question is for the tags. How many tags are there usually per file? Because it seems like you need to define what your edge case is, but also what your normal case is. And so I'd be really curious about number of tags and average tag length, longest length. How are people actually differentiating files from the name? People do file naming conventions a lot too. So I
It's
would
true.
be really curious to kind of dig into that as I'm, even before thinking about some solutions.
Yeah. If we have like 50 tags, we may have another problem. You
Yeah, and if we only ever have one tag
know.
90% of the time, then we don't really have a problem.
That's true. So let's assume that they have like 5 to 7, maximum 10 tags. Let's do that. But it's true
Okay.
that we would love to know more about it. But yeah, 5 to 10s. That's kind of a lot also. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a lot because um, you might be able to get three on a row right now
Hmm.
without doing anything, um, given what the width is that you have
So
in
my
this viewport.
so yeah,
But
absolutely. So my other question is, Are they interactive? Can we click on it? Is it just to display things, to making a choice, to what's the goal of the tags you think here?
Well, it seems like what they described was that is to make it easier to search for files.
Search.
So I think, yeah, so if search and find and sort and stuff like that. So I would sort of assume based on that, that this must mean that there are a lot of files. And that differentiating them must be difficult if tags exist in the first place. But that's a assumption that I'd want to find out before making any solution, making any solutions. I also see that there's a column dedicated to document number, which also seems sort of interesting to me. Why would the number?
Sure.
It's probably a unique ID associated with the document, maybe. But I would be curious if that is something that needs to always be there or not.
And you have the title of the document and you have the file name of the document. You have a lot of meta information here.
You do, yeah. Yeah, that's true. It does have a name separate from the file name, which should be a lot, like you should really be honing in on some details with all of those meta pieces.
So I feel like they added tags to group files together.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that could be, that would make sense, I think.
So if the goal is to
yeah.
search it, what are you using to search the right document? We don't have that right now.
Yeah, I would almost expect there to be associated with the column, perhaps like a drop down or something like that, so that you can just see files that have certain tags to them.
Okay, so
yeah.
the problem is it to search, to filter, or to get the document. What's the problem we're trying to fix with tags right now? You think?
I think that it's to differentiate them. I think that's all that we can really assume is the problem. Because if the file name is not doing it, the meta name that you add in is not doing it, tags must be some mechanism to differentiate them.
Yeah. Okay. So
it's vague, I know.
No, but we'll have to do with that. So before we talk about tags, how do we have another mechanism to just show some files with some tags, or we don't right now? We make this assumption that they're just scrolling. What do you want to do here?
Well, yeah, because we're not sure if there's actually like a search bar in there, or if there's column sorting, or if there's. We do know that the person is kind of debating doing like a +1 or like a numerical kind of indicator that there's more stuff to then like open it up more. I'm not sure that number of tags are necessarily helpful. The tag itself is probably the most helpful thing that people need to actually see, or they need to access, but do they actually need to see all of them all at the same time? That's what I would ask. Like, do they contextualize each other? You know what I mean?
If you think it's for differentiate blocks, I kind of need to see them, right? So it's true that a +1, what's the purpose here? If I want to just show me all the files, and I will use tags to cluster them together mentally in a way.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Your question's good about grouping as well. I think. Because, well, we don't know the relationship between the tags super closely, if like they're mutually exclusive, or you just kind of add whatever so that they're just ands to each other.
Okay,
I would
go on, sorry.
I would tend to say that, look, if you're going to have a column for tags, it takes than other things, because it must be important. Like,
must be important, exactly.
Seeing a whole bunch of them must be important if we're putting it to the seniority of like column that's there all the time, right? That's kind of like the biggest deal that you can assign to something.
it looks like they're irrational. So how we say that? Make the tags column. I would say that. Not primary, but
Take precedent or like take space up by default, or take most of the space up by default, or something like that.
Okay. Before we go and talk just about the tags, I feel like there's a need to be able to filter or sort by tags at least. I know it's
I
not a
think
problem
so.
that we need to fix, but filtering it by tags, whatever is the mechanisms, it can be a facet, it can be in a column where you can sort by tags, you can sort them or filter or exclude or include. There's something here that need to happen at least to make a good decision if you want to differentiate. That's for sure.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay.
I agree too. Because the thing is that when you look across, because with table experiences, you like look across columns and you do a lot of scanning. With tags, it doesn't strike me as the same sort of kind of immediate thing. Oh, if I just scan it, I'll see the ones that I want. Because there's multiple of them like beside each other, no matter what you do. So I think that like a active interaction of some kind to actually get to them is very like makes a lot of sense.
I think so. Good. So let's say we have a mechanism to filter and sort tags. Columns take a little bit more space, but of course, in small screens, small device, or just because we want to see all the tags, or if there's a need to truncate, all tags, how we can, fix this problem then? If we have like 10 tags, is it because they want it in one line? Sometimes this is what I feel: is make sure it's in one line, just one line only. Not make the the rule bigger. They would not like that, but that would make sense if tags are that important, right? To show them all.
Yeah, and yeah, again, kind of coming back to like the values that are actually in those fields would be really interesting here, because tags are, they might be a couple of characters long. They might not be really long kind of things. There could be acronyms or like different things that they use in that specific industry that contextualize the files.
So one solution could be to, how you say that, to truncate the tag itself.
Yeah, you could truncate the tag itself potentially. You need to be like really, really careful.
That's very dangerous. Yeah,
it is totally. You need to be real careful. You'd have to have those. You'd have to have a helmet on with fire retardant
belt,
gloves
and suspenders,
armor.
exactly.
Yes.
And you need a tooltip on top of each tags to make sure that they can look at it. And I don't like that when you're in the table, that you have to interact with it on the table to understand what's the content. This when
Yeah, it's not ideal. It's not.
Okay. So
but that would be but I mean, the lowest hanging fruit that you really have there, I think, in terms of interaction, is to, if we're making the assumption that tags are super important, then maybe document number and column name aren't super important. Maybe by default they don't even show up on the table when it loads.
So take out unnecessary columns. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, by default.
Okay. What else? I do have an idea. Why not? Let's say we have a table. Let's create a table, and that maybe will spark some ideas here. Plus. Why not? Oh, it's maybe not the right. But why not having the tags? Under the title, it will take the whole width under the document name. Maybe why not in the same row?
Exactly. Yeah, that's possible.
If it's that important. So let's say we have a row here. Yeah. Mm. Oh,
The only
yeah.
issue with that one is that you get the
Interesting.
sorting thing.
The sorting thing is bad. Yeah, you're right. So trying to, ooh. And you want to take a look at the whole table to be able to differentiate docs, to, oh, these, are under this group and under this other group. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, if they are, if they are actual meaningful, let me get a better one for this. If they are actually groups, then you can group the table. You can
Oh,
group it with headers to actually organize it straight up. Like that could, if that is kind of a valid approach to it.
so it's going back to filtering and sorting. You would, select a couple of tags and you say group. But I mean, you'll start duplicating file names now. That's possible if all the file names belong to two or more groups. Now you may
Yeah.
have,
Yeah, if it is the case that they're all ands. So yeah, that's a good point because you could have duplicates and that could actually kind of throw you off.
yeah,
But if you had something like maybe the way to actually prevent against that, let's just assume that it is an and situation. Maybe what you'd want to do is have something a little bit like this. Oops. Where I can't put checkboxes in here, I don't think, in Whimsical, but where you'd actually be explicitly doing like a to only render the like checkbox kind of thing. I guess it's a filter, right?
kind of filter. We're going back to the filter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand what you mean.
Because if that's really your goal is to like differentiate these things, and maybe you're building it off of, if they are not mutually exclusive, and you are really trying to differentiate between similar items that look the same. So let's just assume that the document title name sort of sucks and the actual file name sucks to some degree. Then this is the other mechanism you use, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, I just see Nate. Hi, Nate. Nate's saying that he loves our content. So we are the only resource that he can find on Enterprise UX.
Amazing.
Yeah, thank you. If you have any question like that, Nate, just don't hesitate. Just share something to us. We'll take a look at it. But yeah, glad you'll take the course. And if any feedback for us, don't hesitate. Well, we have a couple of new courses coming soon, by the way, about data tables especially. So I think you'll love it. Well, let's go back to that. So again, sorting, filtering. So the problem is not exactly displaying tags, is organizing them or filtering and sorting tags. That's maybe the problem. Okay. So if there's 10 tags, are we displaying them all because the columns just take more space? You think so, right? If we don't have any choices, let's say, this is the width, we cannot, go beyond. I would love to have a better sorting, filtering mechanism. I would love to, have a way to group them together. And I would love to have, more space for the column. How can I, is it the plus one really that's useful? And if it's the only mechanism, how we would display that there's other tags?
Well, I'm not sure that, if there were like a couple problems to solve because they're trying to figure out, what if we get a bunch of tags? So, if there are like 20 or something, like we're getting into ridiculous realms, that would make me really wonder about why are we using tags
Mm.
rather than other metadata. Like maybe we have
Oh,
this other metadata in there, or it's when it was uploaded, or file type, or there's a lot of ways at file size. Like there's a lot of ways to differentiate files,
mm.
and manually putting tags into them, it allows for a lot of flexibility. We actually have some flexible enterprise features on a new article on our blog, but which is handy. But like you would think that they would have to be kind of under control a little bit for these. Like, are you actually getting any utility if you're showing like 20? Because in your visual reading experience, are you actually going to be able to parse that with your eyeballs? Can you scan that? Can people scan that? I guess the other question I would want to explore related to the values themselves would be, are there any hierarchies implied, any parent-child relationships within tags that could allow us
That's
to
a good point.
prioritize the tags that are displayed?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Wow. So tags with child's parent tags and all. Okay. You know, let me ask you this question now. Let's say we're in a small device and we have to display a table. So what's your point of view on displaying tags when the table is, well, when I'm on my phone, I have to display the tables and there's maybe just one or two tag. Do I display them all? Do I display them in a column, line by line? Is there a way to change it when I don't have a lot of space?
Yeah, I would explore a card view right
Card view.
away
It's true.
to see if you could have a bit of like this experience.
Hmm, hmm.
Um, not too many columns that you need to say like what type of data you're looking at, and then the value, and then um, that's what I want to look at right away, because tags, they can then overflow and grow in that container and take up height. And you could, depending on how you implemented them, you could potentially have some scroll within the actual card container too. So you could, if you could see kind of most of them or something, um, you could also have that.
So our solution, the more I see it with you is, well, you have to display them all in a way. Display them all. If there's too much, you have another kind of problem. People are just tagging away without any structure, or people, have their own tagging, and they are just, diverging way too much. Maybe tagging is not the right, tool to group files together. Maybe there's something else. Maybe there's a group of filters. Maybe you can, have a better filtering sorting mechanism where you can, save your filters and switch between different filters. Maybe.
Totally. Yeah.
Mm.
Like I think looking at the ways that people are making their decisions, or the ways that people are finding the files, what
Mm.
they're not getting from the metadata, what they are getting from the tags, um, that would be that would really inform what you actually go to pursue, I think, in terms of solutions and what you want to actually put effort into. Um,
So is it a real problem right now? Adding tags is sometimes a duct tape approach on something else.
might
Yeah,
be.
might be.
It might be. So, as a product company or as a product team, like what guidance are you giving around the usage of the tags? What is, do you actually do you actually define a maximum, and you're like, no,
Mm.
you have to capture this other data in like custom fields or some other sort of way. And is there any smarter ways that you can expose the files and predict how users, which files users would actually want to look at or access at that moment? That would be another thing to potentially look at if the volume of files is like insanely high.
If it's insanely high, exactly. So it's not illegal to just put it in 2 lines and to display them all. It just doesn't have to be in 1 line. You just make the row a little bit bigger and you display them all. If there's edge cases, this is where you need not a better tagging design component, but a better way to play with the content, to massage the data, to filter things out or remove the noise and just get to exactly what you need. So our solution is just don't overthink it, just putting them all and work on helping the user find, search, sort, and filter so they can get to the right file that they need. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Can you synthesize everything we did? And we spent not that much, maybe just 15 minutes, but it would be fun just to, yeah.
Do you want me to
Oh, yeah.
synthesize our solution or the whole problem and everything?
The whole problem and everything. Yeah. So they don't have to spend 15 minutes watching us and understanding the solution. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Okay, here goes. All right. So for our problem of the week, basically our person in here is trying to solve an issue of tag overflow within a table view itself, on a table view that looks at files. So as we explored solutions for figuring out how would we help them solve this problem, we would really like to more about actually how the tags are used. What metadata did they supply that the file name and the other file title don't?
Want to know how important the other columns are
as well? Do we actually even need to show all of these other columns? Are we talking about a loading state where the defaults actually give a ton of real estate to these tags if they're so important? But that really brought up, if there are so many tags, they also start to have a bit of a design smell where maybe tagging is not the right approach that we should be taking. Yeah. So overall, our solution is that we display all of the tags as much as we can. Hiding them or kind of allowing them to expand and things like that it's a really risky approach where you can lose information.
Pursuing the search,
sort, find solutions might actually be a more robust one longer term for the use case, depending on how users are actually using the information to locate the files they need to find.
All right, great. So the solution is in user head. You just have to ask them and see how they are using it. Thank you, Kira. That was an interesting one. Yeah. Thank you again. So if you have any problem like that, you just put a comment, submit something on our website, connect with us, and we'll fix it with you for free. And you can even be a guest if you want to. We'd love to ask you a couple of questions while we're eking around together.
Yeah, so we will grill you.
Oh,
but then you'll have a more robust solution in front of you, hopefully.
Exactly.
Something good to test.
Thank you again, Kira, and see you soon.